actions, reducers, a store, get it all plugged up, and make sure that our store can update in our application. Cool? We all good? Okay. So let's do make dir. We'll call this Redux intro. CD into Redux intro. Okay. This is a React application, so I need to create npm init-y. Cool. All right, and we need to install parts of our application. Now, I want to talk about this for a second. Redux, is Redux only for React?
No.
No. It can be used for anything. It's a standalone thing. It works really well with React. So what we're going to need is we're going to need the actual base Redux package, right? We're also going to need little things that React works with too. So React is built, and a bunch of other developers, including Redux, have built all these extra pieces to make it easier to work with React. Someone tell me, and I told you this last week, I do not expect you to get this right, but can someone tell me who the name of the creator of Redux is? No. Anyone? It's Dan Abramov. You should follow him on Twitter. You should know his name. So honestly, in that little quiz thing that we did, which was really fun, by the way, I thought that was awesome. On our little quiz thing on Thursday, we spin the wheel. I should have actually added in there who is Dan Abramov, because Dan Abramov, who his creation of this, he created Redux before React. I'm pretty sure. I think so. Don't quote me on that. But I mean, he made this thing a long time ago. He works on all kinds of stuff. He's like the biggest name in Redux development. Follow him on Twitter. Seriously, the things he puts on Twitter are gold. I'm so serious. He posts something on Twitter, and everybody goes, like the guy's incredible. We could build our own version of Redux though quickly if we wanted to, and if we get a chance before the end of this class, we'll make our own version of Redux so you can see how Dan Abramov created this. Cool. It's not a very complex thing at the end of the day in terms of how it's built. All right. So what we're going to do is install a bunch of packages here. We're going to do some testing today too for this. So let's start with just the basic things. We need Redux. Okay. We're going to need Redux DevTools extension. I'll explain what all these are. Extension. You should know what that is by the name of it. We're going to do Redux mock store. That's going to be used for testing. We'll talk about that in a second. We need React scripts. We need React Redux. We need React DOM. We need React. We need Enzyme for testing. Enzyme. And we need Enzyme. Remember this thing? Enzyme adapter React 16. Adapter React 16. And I think that's all we need for now. If we need more, we'll update them. So let's talk real quick. Redux, core Redux library. Redux DevTools extension. What do you think that's for?
Extension like Google Cool?
Yep. There's an extension that you can use, and you can actually install a package for it that enables the extension. You actually have to do a little piece of thing in your code too to get it to enable and work. But the idea here is that when I'm going through and building things, it's awesome. Like it's really, really awesome. You get this thing on the oh, weird. Okay, cool. Don't know what happened. You get this. Sure. Great. Okay. You get this thing that says like Redux. Whatever. Okay, I got it. You don't have to instruct. Redux, like this. Cool, right? Like that. And then you click that, and then it's going to give you a thing that says like store. And then down here, it's going to show you the state of your store. So as you dispatch an action, it's going to automatically update this little thing on the right-hand side, just like you were using DevTools in Google Chrome. It's got all kinds of cool little time travel abilities. You can go forward and backwards with a little slider bar. Like, it's really awesome. You must be using the Redux DevTools when you're using Redux. Otherwise, you're kind of doing it with blurred vision, right? You should be able to do that with a thing that helps you get through the whole process. Cool? When we're building front ends and we have issues and debugging on our front end, what do we use to debug a front-end application? The debuggers, sure, but I'm looking more for like Google Chrome console, right? Console log and Google Chrome console. This thing for when you're dealing with Redux. Cool. There is a React extension, which is really great. Redux is more important because your state's going to be getting really large as it continues to grow. Does that make sense? One object tree, you can go back and forth in the object tree. I'll show you an example of this in a bit, but that's what that's for. We also installed Redux mock store. Redux mock store. Someone tell me just by the name of that what you think that's going to be used for. Testing. We're going to make a fake store so that way we don't update the actual store of our application when we're running tests. If we did not do this, we would have to hit the actual store, and then our application would get all this test data that we don't need. Does that make sense? Okay? Yes? We're not going to be doing snapshot testing here. No, we're going to be doing direct testing on Redux. The goal for today is to test our actions and our reducers. That's basically what we're going to do. An action should have this data. When we dispatch an action, our reducer should handle it and update the state with this data. That's pretty much what we're working with today. Okay? All right. So now what we're going to do is create a couple basic layers of our app. What do we need in here? Make sure we're going to say source, and we're going to do public. We're going to jump into public. We're going to touch index.html. We're going to also open up VS Code real quick, and we're going to set up some basic things. Our package JSON needs some stuff. Today, we're going to be using test. All right, so that's a thing we should probably add. So the first thing we're going to do here, let's hold off on test. We'll do that last, but I'll keep the script there. All right, what's the first thing we should add? Start, which is React scripts. Start, right? We should always add build, which is React scripts build. Now, let's talk real quick before we get into the next one. What is the test runner that we're using in this? We're using Enzyme, right? But we're also using parts of Jest, which is built into what? If we didn't install it, what would it be built into? React scripts, right? So the idea here is that we're using React scripts to test our app. So we'll say React scripts, and then we want to, scripts, cool. React scripts, and we're going to say test, and we should set up an env with JS DOM. This is just a general thing that we don't actually have JS DOM installed, so we shouldn't have to do that today. We'll talk about that in a bit. We'll just leave that out. So the idea here, actually, yeah, we are. We're going to need a JavaScript DOM because it's going to need to create a fake DOM for us when it runs our tests. So I'm lying. Let's talk about that. Then we're going to need to install JS DOM. So env equals JS DOM. Someone tell me if you saw that line of code, okay? And you were, and I think JS DOM actually comes with this. You're wondering what that is, right? This is for a test of an application that creates a front end for us in our tests. So what do you think that means? Like, someone give me a descriptor here. What do you think? Don't Google it. You just look at this, and you're like,
Using the variables inside the env.env file. Like if I have front end, I have like variables inside my env.
It's a fake DOM. That's what I'm looking for you to answer with this. How do we test a React application that needs to mount components to the DOM without a DOM? Make sense? This is called a phantom DOM or a fake DOM. Does that make sense? We all follow what I'm saying? It is also considered a headless browser, meaning that there's actually not really a browser there. It's just all of the components of a browser without the actual browser implementation. Phantom.js is the most popular. Cool? Got it? Okay. It's definitely cold in here.
Yeah.
Just because I'm on the author line, be Nate's. All right, so we're going to save that. You don't need that. So we're going to save this. We're going to jump into our index.html. We're going to build a super quick index.html, and then we will take a break. So doc type, HTML, HTML, head. What's the purpose of the head section of our document? That's exactly right. There's another answer. And?
Link tag.
Not wrong. Not right.
For
What's a what? Dependencies. Meta information and dependencies. Right? Link tag is a dependency, not dependencies. Does that make sense? It is not just for the link tag. We can put any other dependency that we want in there. It is meant for meta information and dependencies. So we'll say Redux demo. We're going to do body, right? We're going to say, sure. Well, let's go back to the div, just because why not? Because I feel like it, right? So we'll go cool root. Div with an ID of root. Let me ask you a question. Here's a question. Let's say I did this. I want you to be thinking about this real quick, okay? Let's say I did this, okay? And I put in here so here's my question. So I have this, okay? What type of asset is this? It is an image, but that means it goes in this public directory, right? So it's in public, and now I have image, and now I have logo.png. Could I put this in source? What was that? Yes, I can. We'll talk about that in a second. So what type of asset is logo PNG? No, it is a static asset. So let me explain this. And the reason I'm bringing this up is because I watched a video of some students in Seattle who had a hard time explaining static assets, especially in relation to React. Public is serving static information. These are pages and information that are not dynamic. The only dynamic piece of this is that your whole app gets stuffed in there, right? Otherwise, this page is a page, is a page, is a page. And there's a whole bunch of JavaScript that updates it once we load this page, because our whole app is a SPA, our single page application. If I want to just put like a logo somewhere in here, and I don't need to run that through my React app, right? Follow what I'm saying here? It could live in public, because public is meant for static assets. That means not changeable things, they just are there, and you can just serve them up. Does that make sense? However, I asked a question a minute ago where I said, can it go in here? And I brought that up on purpose. You said no, right, which makes sense. Who can tell me why I can do things like this? If I say require, and this is inside of source, /image, say /image/logo .png. Now we haven't done this. But there is a reason why we can do this, and we have talked about the reason why we can't do it. Someone take a guess. Why can I require an image in a JavaScript file? No, cannot do that in ES6.
Because it's a dynamic thing, so I need to use it.
That's an answer that doesn't necessarily have a
use it
no. No.
to use it more than one time in the same.
That's what it's used for. Why can I include an image in a JavaScript file? Nope.
Because I have component and I have, if I want to show the images inside my components.
Nope. I'm gonna hold on. I'll get to you in a second because I think you're probably going the right direction on this. Why can I do that? Why can I include a CSS file in a JavaScript file? Or import is the same thing. What's that? Sure, we can do that. Yeah, we do it all the time. Why? You can't. Last time I checked, JavaScript could not just take CSS. It could not just take an image. That's what I'm trying to get you at. You need to know why. No. The global answer. Nice try. Go for it.
Maybe because React by build, sorry, it would be built for the JS, HTML, and CSS file.
What builds those?
The React script.
React scripts. What under the surface, I've brought it up a few times, what under the surface does React scripts use? Webpack. Okay? So here's what I'm trying to get you at. If you want to require an asset like an image or a CSS file, don't just go off thinking that you can do that. You can't do that. So like for example, we've been building our apps, we're like requiring .scss files. You can't do that. That's not real JavaScript. What that is Webpack, which is this thing called a module bundler, and Webpack resolves all this for you. It does all this magic, truly, it is magical. It does all this magic and it says, cool, I'm gonna turn that thing into this binary thing that can be included into JavaScript. That's what it's doing. Cool? So, my point being, if you see things here, they don't need to run through Webpack. Those are static assets and they can just be used here, right? But if you wanna pull in an image into a React JavaScript file, right, or in your source directory, you absolutely can, because Webpack will do that for you. Webpack has a thing called a loader. We haven't talked about this, but again, I have brought up, you can't just include CSS files. You can't just include images. Webpack's doing that. Webpack is built with React scripts is built on top of Webpack. Cool? There's a loader called a .scss loader. That loads in SCSS files. There is a loader, this is in Webpack, called an image loader. And the image loader, this is how you get to modify Webpack. React Scripts gives us one. We could actually make our own Webpack config file and tell it to load whatever we wanted. You can load font files. That's important. That's real important. You can load images. You can load MP3s. You can load WAV files. You can truly say import or require something MP3, right? And put that in your source directory and use that in your component in an audio tag, and it will work because Webpack does that for you. Does that make sense? Now that's a sidebar to our Redux conversation, but it's an important piece of this. You cannot go into an interview and then just be like, what's a static asset versus why can you require this? And you go, I don't know, because React lets me do it. It's not the answer to your question. It's because there is a module bundler or loader that is allowing you to be able to do that. Does that make sense? So, React Scripts is built on top of what? Webpack. What does Webpack do? It has loaders.
It's gonna solve all this and make it work to make me use this.
These answers are so like I'm looking for this, and you're like,
To use image and CSS JavaScript.
if you want to use files that are not JavaScript files inside of a JavaScript application, Webpack will handle that for you. It will resolve that for you. Cool? Static assets can now be included inside of a source directory. My point being, if you wanted to have a header component that pulled in a logo that lived in your app, does that make sense? Your header component doesn't have to have that logo living in here. That can live in source. Does that make sense? Follow what I'm saying? Okay. We haven't got a bunch of images in there, but that's a static asset. Okay. Yep.
So the point here, I can use the require, but should not, because Webpack will handle it.
Now you're like throwing in a whole random thing. What is Babel's point? What does Babel do? I brought this up last week. What is Babel?
Yeah, it's not required, it's interconverted.
No, stop yelling. What's Babel? That's not what I'm asking you. What is Babel? That's what I'm asking you. It is a transpiler. I know that's what it does. What is it? It's a transpiler. Like when someone says, what is SAS, you don't say, well, it's this, you say it's a CSS preprocessor. Does that make sense? Transpiler is a thing that converts what to what. What does it do? That's what you're in.
Convert ES6 to what the browser knows.
No.
Convert ES6 to ES what?
That's what it does. It converts ES6 to ES5. So what you're saying is more along the lines of when you get weird issues with Webpack that says Babel doesn't work or whatever, Babel has nothing to do with the image asset loading. All it is an ES6 to ES5 converting tool. Does that make sense?
Yeah, just like from import to require something like that.
Mm-hmm. That's a great example of it, right? If you write, here's what I'm saying. If you write this in a browser that doesn't know what that is, like 3 versions of Google Chrome ago, Google Chrome's going to go, I don't know what this is. Babel is a transpiler. It takes this and it goes, it turns it into the word function. Does that make sense? That's what a transpiler is. Okay, so it's okay if we take a quick pivot like this. We have time. But my goal here is like, I'm going to be asking questions like this a lot throughout the next week or two. I think we had a lot of discovery on Thursday with our kind of interview question series. I'm going to be doing that a lot in lecture because you all are hitting that interview time frame. You can't just, here is what I hear a lot of in this class. What is this? And you're like, well, it's the thing that React does. And it's like, sure, you're right. Or like, what is the head tag? It's, you put CSS in it. No, that's not what I'm looking for. Does that make sense? You've got to be more descriptive. You've got to know it. You cannot give me 10% of it. Just give me 100% in a real quick sentence, like a quick sentence. What is Babel? Transpiler. Great. All good. Okay, good. Okay, it is 10 o'clock on the dot. You got until 10:10. At 10:10, doors closing. Cool? 10:10. Then we'll start to build this app out.